It's Don Elkring. I'm sorry. Dad, take it away.
You'll just have to trust me when I tell you I am not a violent man. But sometimes, violence is sort of thrust upon you when you least expect it. I joined the Air Force right out of high school, and my introduction to the Air Force was, of course, my training instructor. I'm sure he had a name, however, it didn't really suit him. And so, ultimately, the boot camp in the Air Force is a tumultuous time. It's all about stress and competition. You're competing with one another. You're competing with other flights within the Air Force, within basic. So, in fact, everything is either a stick or a carrot. Even eating, which we, of course, do all together. And the training instructor is the last person who comes into the mess hall. And you're online getting your food and you're watching it. Because if we did well, then eating is sort of a leisurely affair. I mean, you're sort of socializing, making fun of people, and stuff like that. But if you do poorly, I swear to God, this man unhinges his head and drags the food down into his throat. And then he's like, "Flight, you're done! Form up!" Whether or not you ate a plate of food or a string bean. So I was constantly sort of berated by this man. And part of that was that I had a chip on my shoulder. I thought I was better than everybody else. I sort of wrote in my journals, which of course I found out that he could read, and about how I was going to excel despite all of this duress. And, what that equates to in the Air Force is, of course, it means that my locker kept getting sort of torn down and my bed kept getting, undone so that I would have to do it again and again and again. So, now, rumors about, is there saltpeter in the water? And, can we repeat if we don't, basic training, if we don't do well again? Now, I will tell you that after about 7.5 weeks of this, no matter how unlikely that possibility of repeating basic training is, the reality is you're going to do absolutely everything you can to avoid that, that becoming a reality. It's about 3/4 into basic training and we get a new recruit, Sikowski, I think his name was. And we know he's a saboteur. He's from another flight. He's a little slower than everybody else. I mean, a step behind us. And at first, his locker's not up to snuff. And then it becomes like little things go awry. A little can of spray starch is left where it's not supposed to be, or someone's underwear isn't, folded into 4-inch little squares and ironed. And so instead of sort of like, complaining, and because look, we knew that they were just trying to take some of the polish out of our presentation. We knew we were shit hot. We knew we were a well-oiled machine, and they were just kind of trying to throw stuff at us. So we just had a guy, who stayed behind and made certain everything was getting done, and we did pretty well. So it's the last day. It's the final test. And in fact, what's happening is I'm going around to person and asking them questions that we would be asked by the base commander in formation. And other people are, shining their boots and, dusting shit and so on and so forth. So every person is answering me as if I have a gold eagle on my collar. They're standing at attention, heels touching, toes at 45-degree angle, and your curls, your fingers curled, and your thumbs down the stripe of your trousers. Every last one of them, until I get to Sikowski. And I take a deep breath and I say, who is the Secretary of the Air Force? Kind of flippantly, he's like, some general. So I get up in his face and I say, so be it, Sikowski. If you fuck this up for everybody, I will reach down your throat and feed you your fucking heart. Do you understand? I was furious. And what was even worse is he wasn't answering me. He was just giving me this dumb look. But then I noticed that in the periphery, all of my friends were kind of gathering around, and they had this look. It wasn't the look of righteous indignation that I was hoping. It was concern. Concern for who? Somebody put their hand on my shoulder, or my arm, and said, "John, put him down." And so I sort of looked down, and I'm surprised to see that Zukowski's feet was actually dangling off of the ground, and I'm holding him up by his neck. And it wasn't impertinence or, some sort of misunderstood loyalty for his other flight. It's that he couldn't breathe. So I let him go. And so nothing left the barracks, and we did wonderfully well, Doyle the machine and all that. But I learned something. I learned that 7.5 week, perfect storm of stress, competition, and expectation can easily lead you to be a person that you really are not.